Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video that you asked quite a lot, especially in streams. Most of you were here when the 5.5 update dropped. Basically, this update, for those of you who were not here, removed a couple of tech tree tanks that I found to be extremely fun to play. That was Wargaming decision in order for them to get rid of all the dub guns or all the tanks that were definitely too much for their tiers and that everybody was spamming it. I think the main goal was to make it easier for newbies to climb up to the top without getting bored in order to gain some regular and faithful new players. But it ended up being a complete massacre and everybody hates Wargaming for doing that. And a lot of people asked in my comments, in my DMs, on stream and all that stuff, hey Pantoufleee, can you do a video about the 5.5 update and especially which tanks are worth getting back for those of you who had the tank before this update. So before starting this video, I want to remind you one thing. If you want to get back these tanks, you must have them already by at least once in the first place. For example, if you want to get back your KV-13 and you never had the tank, it's impossible for you to get it back. You need to buy it, you need to have it when the 5.5 update drops, and you need to sell it after the 5.5 update for you to be eligible to get the tank back. Now, that being said, let's talk about the tanks you should get back. The first one is the KV-13, and that's probably my top one in this list. This tank is basically a Rudy with a better armor. Maybe a worse gun, but who cares, it's not really a problem. Now, for the KV-13 you have everything. Mobility, good DPM, good armor. I really love this tank, and if I had played this tank before the 5.5 update, I would have probably enriched it. Now it's too late, but at least it's still in my garage. The second one is the M4A3E2. You all know the Jumbo. This tank is simply amazing thanks to its armor. You have one of the greatest armors at tier 6, which makes it quite impossible to penetrate if you manage to angle it the right way. Definitely a tank worth getting back simply because you will rate everybody, and when the tank was already in the game, nobody knew how to penetrate it, so now that it's out and you're not gonna encounter a lot of them, just imagine the struggle for new players when they will come across this tank. Now, the VK30O2M. Why? Simply because it's a Panther at tier 6 and the Panther at tier 7 is really good. This tank is great, especially at ramming, but not only. You can try to fight some Cromwells, even if overall the Cromwell is a better tank. But you're going to be able to sustain on the battlefield. You can combine, you have a good armor, therefore if you manage to angle it correctly, you can bounce heavy tanks, and if you don't want to do that, you can still go on the medium side and ram whatever is in front of you. The T150. This is a tier 6 Russian heavy tank. It's good, it's not OP, it's good, and it's rare to mention that on a Russian tank because usually they are broken. This tank is great simply because your armor will allow you to do the trick. As long as you know how to angle heavy tanks, especially at tier 6, you should be able to bounce quite a lot of shells. Now, if I had to compare it with the KV-1S, it has a worse alpha damage but a better armor and maybe a worse mobility as well. It's definitely a KV-4 but at tier 6, so you can take it or not, but I truly think this tank is worth getting back. Now, the Churchill gun carriage. I hate that tank, but simply for the fact that it's ugly as hell, one of the ugliest tank ever created, and I truly think engineers of this tank must have been severely drunk before creating that shit. Just for that, it's in the top, simply because it's ugly as hell. Yeah, it looks like a tank with Down syndrome, let's face it, but it's cute in its own ways, you know? So definitely a tank worth getting back because it's ugly. Now, the T67. It's an Hellcat at tier 5. It got nerfed a couple of times because the tank was really overperforming in many ways, and that's why the tank got removed, because Wargaming didn't really manage to make it balance. It was either it was great or completely shit. Now it's average, but even if it's average, having a fully traversable turret at tier 5 and a good mobility is still enjoyable, and it will allow you to destroy some newbies quite easily. Now the Luch. I know a lot of people don't like this tank because of the way it turns, and I can agree with them. But the Luch has an amazing gun, a really amazing one, which will allow you, if you're top tier, to destroy the shit out of everybody you will see. And just for that, I think it deserves to be in this top, and it also deserves to be getting back into the game. DW2, simply because at tier 4 it combines armor and an amazing gun. That's pretty much the reason why this tank is here. The gun is great, the armor is great as well, so why not get it back and give it a try. AMX40, just because it's the duck. You all know this is a meme tank, and just because it's a meme, you should get it back. It also has a really round armor, which makes it quite hard to penetrate for most players if they don't use gold. Therefore, you will have an advantage. And the gun is good as well. Even if the dispersion really sucks, you can still manage to do good games with the AMX40. But just for the meme, get it back. The T82. You all know this tank. It's a derp gun at tier 3. If you manage to sneak an HE shot, let me check, I don't remember the exact alpha damage of the HE. Yeah, the HE is 200 alpha damage on a tier 3. It's not a one shot, but in 2 shots you can literally destroy whatever is in front of you, if you manage to penetrate, of course. But it's not a struggle penetrating with this tank with the HE, so I think you should be able to have some fun. That's why you should get it back, just for the dub gun, which is truly worth it. And now for the last one, the T18. Why? Because this tank combines the 3 things you need to do an amazing game: an amazing gun, a good armor, and a good mobility. This tank is here to destroy whatever is in front of him. At tier 2, he was the king back in the days, and it was the king all the time. It was the king in tier on World of Tank PC, sorry. It was the king on World of Tank Blitz, and that's exactly why the tank got removed. I literally love driving this tank, even if playing tier 2 is not something I do quite often, simply because I'm not a low tier player. I don't really like it. I like when there is some challenge. But for some of you who want to seal club and have some fun, this tank is simply perfect. Even if at tier 2 right now, with the new collectible and premium tanks that Wargaming is released, you probably have better options to farm newbies. It's still quite enjoyable, and knowing that now nobody knows what this tank is because of the 5.5 updates, when you're gonna play against new players, they're gonna struggle penetrating, and you don't have gold. Remind that, guys. You don't have access to gold at tier 2. So definitely a tank worth getting back. So overall, that's my list of tanks after the 5.5 update to get back. One more time, I want to remind you, in order for you to claim the tanks back, you need to have them in the first place when the 5.5 update dropped. If you had them before, but you sold them before the 5.5 update, I don't think you can get them back. Maybe you can, I'm not sure, because I never used the get back ticket thing. But if you can, it's worth trying. Hope this video you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and now you know what to get back. I know it was a little an easy video to make, but as a lot of people were asking for it, here you go. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. And one last thing before leaving that video, I received the affiliation on Twitch, therefore I can't multi-stream anymore, so I have to choose between YouTube and Twitch to stream, because I can't stream at the same time. For the moment, I'm focusing on Twitch. I'm focusing on Twitch simply because I want to grow my channel here. So if you want to follow my Twitch channel and be able to come into stream, knowing we're not a lot on Twitch, so it's easier for me to answer your questions, feel free to follow me at Pantoufleee on YouTube. On Twitch, sorry. Thank you all for listening, and see you soon.